Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome to episode 189 of the It's Obvious podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Preston Pugh, and I'm joined by my best friend, GarrettDrake.
Good afternoon, my dear friend. It is a pleasure to be joined by you.
It's a pleasure to be here as well. The lamp's gone this
Lamp's
week.
gone, yeah. He was a little hard to control. He had a little too much to say, and kind of annoyed me a bit, if I'm being honest. But
had some pretty stupid opinions.
He did, yeah.
Well,
I completely disagreed with everything he had to say. So poor Shades is gone, but the two of us are here, and that's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too. How's your week been?
Pretty good, actually. It's been a pretty wild ride in terms of just life in general. But I'm nearing the final 4 weeks of my school quarter, and all hell's broken loose as far as school projects are concerned, and it's pretty hard, but I've yet to determine what short story I want to tell with my final film for my film class. I'm not much of a writer, honestly. I know that sounds hilarious because I write about games here and there these days, but as far as creative writing and writing stories, I've just never in my entire life ever been an idea guy. I can take anyone else's idea and bring it to life, but I've never been able to come up with my own ideas, so I'm still struggling there. I'm hoping something just hits me in the face this week and I can knock it out because I'm kind of stressing about that. But aside from that, played a lot of games and it was swell. It was real swell. How was your week?
It's really good. It was a good week as well. Got to play a ton of games, so that's always a fun time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I know Jacob was in Colorado. He was in Breckenridge this week for a bachelor party, and or over the weekend at least. That's why he's not here this week. And learned to snowboard. Apparently, he said he busted his ass countless times, but apparently he's able to make it down a slope now in one piece. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. Have you been snowboarding?
No,
I'm not either. I have a feeling I'd be pretty good at it. I just have every time I've had an opportunity to go, something comes up and it prevents me from going. So maybe it's the Lord telling me I'm going to die if I go snowboard, because I'm talking years, man. Every single year I'm like, okay, this is going to be the week we're going to go, and we plan it all out. And then when the day comes, something comes up that I just can't avoid and I have to cancel the trip. So I'd
be interested to see, because I'm a fairly competent water skier.
Yeah.
So I would be interested to see if
you are a good water skier. I totally forgot about that.
Anything like that, if it's similar at all. But yeah, I've water skied pretty much my whole life, so
nice.
Pretty good at that.
I'm a passionate boogie boarder myself. And give me about a half a foot wave, maybe 1 or 2 feet high, and I will carve that bitch with a boogie board. Kneeboarded a bit as well in the lake back in the day. Yeah. So I'm not saying really I prefer to be on my knees in the water, but I've skied as well in the past. I was never quite as adept as you are, but you inspired me, that's for sure. I knew you could do the one ski too, couldn't you?
Slaloming?
Yeah.
Or slalom?
Could you do it where you just use your foot to ski?
No. My one of my I forgot who, like one of my uncle's ex-girlfriend's moms or something, she could do that.
Wow.
It's pretty freakish.
I would say that's a mutant ability. You would wind up in Xavier's School for the Gifted.
I think she like morphed into some amphibian creature from the ankles down and just hit it from
a lizard woman
or something. Yeah.
Okay. I actually have duck feet. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not know.
Yeah, that's how I'm very good at swimming or treading water, I should say.
Okay.
So I can't really ski all that well. I can't wakeboard. Don't know if I can snowboard, but one thing I can do is tread water with my my flippers. Yeah. Exactly.
That's really cool.
So,
did you get to play a lot of games this week?
I did, actually, believe it or not. Well, that's kind of a lie. Actually, that's a blatant lie. It's funny because I technically played a lot of games, but I played each of them for, I kid you not, less than half an hour. So I played Crackdown 3. My review is live as we're speaking. It went live about half an hour ago. So if you've yet to see it, if you're even remotely interested in what I have to say about Crackdown 3, it is available on COD Connected's YouTube channel. Aside from that, I did dabble in Metro. I started Anthem, and then you walked in and we had to start the podcast.
You saw the opening cuts.
Yeah, it's been the longest joke how every chance I've had to play Anthem, something happens and I don't actually get to play it. So,
well, I played quite a bit of, or not quite a bit, but a decent amount of Anthem, so I can talk on that later.
Yeah, and aside from that stuff, I played a handful of matches of Apex with you, and it was Irish I played with as well. So you, me, and Irish got a win under our belts. Have you played again with Irish since then?
No, I haven't played since then. Granted, that was only like 2 or 3 nights ago.
Yeah, but, that was a solid win. It was a fun one.
Yeah, Metro literally came out that night, so I downloaded that. Been playing that. I've been playing Anthem as well.
Cool.
So
I thought that was so funny though when you and I were playing Apex the other night, and we would come close to winning, and you were like, "Dude, do you want to just hang or do you want to win tonight?" I was like, "I'm open to winning." We're like, "Let's hit up Irish." Like 2 matches in, we win. So we were a really good squad, and I'm really loving Apex so much, man. It just pains me because I hardly ever get to play it. So I'm hoping maybe this week I can dabble a bit more. But
I know we talked. I think I said last week I thought it was my favorite battle royale. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it is 1,000% my favorite battle royale. I've played that like obsessively this week, pretty much. Probably not as much as other people when they think of obsessively, but I'm like to level 27 or 8. I have probably like 7 or 8 wins under my belt. So
nice.
Not like a ton, but a fair amount. And it's like, yeah, completely addicted with it this week until the new releases came out on Friday. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving that game, and I can't wait to get back to it. I can't wait for the battle pass to come out.
Yeah, I'm definitely investing in that.
Start like picking up with that type of content. So yeah, I love the game so much. It's great.
Me too. And God bless Respawn, man. I'm glad they're slowly beginning to garner the recognition they deserve. I read somewhere that on Xbox, Titanfall 2 had kind of climbed the charts of top sellers for that week because of Apex, which is pretty cool.
That's cool. I actually went back and played Titanfall 2 this week as well.
You said you were kicking some ass too, weren't you?
Yeah, it's like a lot easier for some reason to get kills now that I've been playing just a ton of Apex. I think it's the time to kill is so much. It is way smaller in terms of you only have to shoot somebody a few times, and I'm used to just having to
unload on someone
an entire magazine. So maybe that is the reason. I don't know, but yeah, it's a whole lot of fun. Just it's just kind of it's the same, game or gunplay as Apex, but just a whole lot faster. And if there's just a mindset of like, playing a battle royale, just sometimes you're in the mood of I just want to hop in a match and just shoot stuff immediately, not have to worry about scavenging. And when I would only have like 30 minutes to play a game or something during the week, I would just hop on Titanfall 2 instead. And yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with that. Played a lot of the campaign as well, and that if you haven't played that campaign, please do so. It is a big treat. It's a
good one.
Really, really good campaign. A lot of fun. So
yeah, I like Apex enough that it actually encouraged me to watch a stream last night. Now I don't watch this guy regularly. His name's Dr. Lupo, and I only watched him because on Twitch's homepage he was like the top of the list. So I clicked on him, and he's definitely very good at the game. But yeah, it was the first time in a while where I'm like, I want to watch someone else play this for a while. I mean, granted, I was bored at work last night. I was actually on lights last night at work because our main light guy recently quit. So all the sound guys are having to take turns doing lights once or twice a week, and I had no idea what I was doing. And the board's like from the dinosaur age. So I basically would just turn on a preset and it flashed some lights around, and I watched a stream for, I think, 6 hours.
Wow.
I didn't watch the whole stream, but I like jump between streams for a while to kill time. But yeah, the game's just as fun to watch as it is to play, and it just made me want to come home and play it immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've yet to kind of I would say I'm half decent at it, but I haven't played enough to really like grasp it entirely. But yeah, every time I've played, man, it is just so much fun. And I agree, it's by far my favorite battle royale so far.
It's the only battle royale so far that I feel like I actually know what I'm doing and I'm competent somewhat.
Yeah.
I know all the systems. I somewhat have a hand on which guns I feel are better than others. And I'm just not completely clueless. Granted, that's probably just because I've actually put time into this. Every other battle royale, I never have put in a ton of practice or time into. So I'm always wondering what to do for some point during playing the game. So yeah,
it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's a really good game.
Yeah, so I'll keep my thoughts on Crackdown brief since the review's out there. You guys can check it out if you feel like it. But my basic synopsis is I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. I don't even think it's a bad game. I just don't think there's anything even remotely remarkable about it whatsoever. I think it would fall in line with open world action games that came out a decade ago, and you wouldn't even be able to tell the difference if it came out in 2019 versus 2009. Verticality and jumping around the map is definitely, I think, the strongest mechanic of the game. It just feels amazing, and it's fun to jump around buildings and dash around and collect orbs. That's probably the most fun I had while playing it. Combat, take it or leave it for me. I didn't like the lock-on function. I get it's almost necessary in that game because it's so fast-paced and you're jumping around so much. Plus, in the lore, you're a super soldier, so it makes sense why you'd have to just have that laser beam of accuracy on enemies. But after a while, it just felt really monotonous and repetitive. So I eventually reached a point where while I was playing through the game, I just was in this trance state, like state of mind where I was listening to a podcast and just mindlessly shooting things for hours until I realized I'd killed 3 bosses and cleared half the map's objectives. So I didn't really think about much of anything I was doing while playing it. But I will say there are spurts when I'd play for about an hour at a time. I genuinely had a lot of fun just to run into a base and kill 100 dudes and blow stuff up was cool. Leveling up is very satisfying because it levels up based on what you're doing. If I'm using guns all the time, my firearm skill increases. If I'm collecting orbs, my agility increases. If I'm driving, the driving increases. There's even little additional side challenges you can do to kind of boost those things. So, and there's a level of exploration there too in the city where if you find these secret orbs that kind of give you skill points across the board if you find them. But the world itself is kind of bland. NPCs are just basically floating objects that don't really do anything. The city, it's weird because it's colorful and it's varied. And there's like twisting highways and there's small slums and there's these big skyscrapers. But for some reason, it just feels so lifeless and dead. So I wouldn't say I had fun exploring the city, but there were points where it looked kind of cool lit up at night and there'd be bombs going off and stuff. Yeah, graphically, textures are kind of mediocre. But I mean, I was playing in 2K, but I'd seen it in 4K at the preview event I went to, and it's crystal clear, which almost works against the game because the textures just aren't that pretty. So it kind of reveals all the nuances and lack of detail in some of the textures in the game world. But I think the best part is, like I said, verticality. Terry Crews is pretty funny. A lot of the quips he has while you're running around the open world. But overall, a fine game, but nothing spectacular. So I thought 6.5 was kind of suitable in that front. Wouldn't say it's bad. Wouldn't even say it's really that boring. It just didn't blow my mind. So those are my thoughts on Crackdown in a nutshell, you could say. But you and I played Metro. I want to hear from you first.
Yeah, I really, really like Metro. I'm about, I don't really know how many hours, but I'm to the second area, which happens to be a desert. So the main, not to get too spoilery, but I'm pretty sure this has been out there. You're trying to find somewhere to live. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Somewhere other than the Metro.
You've left the Metro, you're on a train above ground, and you're just trying to find somewhere to live. I think that's a very spoiler free. Of course, there are things that happen and there are reasons you go to the places that you go. But that's as spoiler free, and that's probably as much in terms of main narrative I'll get into. As far as the characters go, I really, really like Artyom and Anna's relationship. I'm a sucker for husband-wife relationships.
Kind of reminds me of BJ Blazkowicz and his wife.
Yeah, I really liked. Yeah. That's a really good example. I really liked that. I really liked the relationship between
Bayek and his wife.
Yeah, Bayek and his wife. Completely forgot her name. But I really like this one between Anna and Artyom. Even if the voice acting is a little, it's a little hokey. It's not the best. Not even close.
I'm like so used to that in Metro though that it doesn't bother me.
It's whatever. But I do like the characters. There's one guy named. Literally, his name's Idiot, and I think that's pretty funny. So at first they were just calling this guy Idiot, and I was like, man, they're so rude to this guy. And then he would talk, and his name was literally Idiot on the subtitles. Wow. So I thought that was pretty funny. But you pretty much run around with this gang of dudes that accompany you on this train. And I don't remember if they had important parts in 2033 and Last Light. For having actually recently just played those, I don't really remember a lot of the characters and stuff. So they seem fairly new to me, but I could be dead wrong. But the big switch up from this game that I really like is that it puts you in these bigger environments. The first one is more like we've seen in past Metros. It's snowy, but they put this interesting cult out there that they're like anti-technology. So there's a lot of cool dynamics in terms of if you have your lantern on when you go, or a light on when you go up to them, they talk to you differently. So that's pretty cool with the just the NPCs in that first area. But what I like is that it obviously encourages exploration, and because you have to find these crafting materials and you need ammo. I'm just playing on the normal difficulty, so there's this nice balance between I'm almost running out of ammo, but I've never fully ran out, but I'm I'm thinking about it all the time. Like, man, I really need ammo just in case something bad happens. So I'm sure on the
I know you can craft ammo too.
Yeah, you can craft it. So that's also your constant. But the thing is that your med packs and your filters and other things also take from those resources.
Yeah.
So you have, it's like a balancing
It's like picking and choosing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and there are some things that cost a ton of resources. Like there are fire rounds that you can put in your air pressure rifle that cost a ton of resources, but they're very handy. Just shooting one person, they just light on fire. It's almost like an instant kill, but you know, it's a lot of resources. So you're constantly having to balance that. Initially, when you first get to the open world, I was a little bummed because I was going to a lot of areas and there weren't a ton of things to find. It felt very samey, but there are big areas in these open areas that feel more like the classic Metro. Like you'll get almost like a side mission in this game, but it doesn't mark it as a side mission. Somebody will be like, hey, I've heard there are some slaves trapped in here. I've been wanting to go help them, but I can't because I'm doing this. You might want to go do that. So, and this was in the first area. So I went into this big complex and I took it out completely stealthily. And there's a day and night cycle as well, whereas you can wait until it's nighttime and it's obviously easier to be stealthy, but there's more monsters outside. So there is some strategy with that day-night cycle. So I waited for it to be night, went into this complex, took everybody out. I saved some slaves and they gave me a key. They're like, hey, there's a secret area in this place that you have to go to continue on the story. And taking that key, I was able to go into a separate room that gave me night vision goggles. So doing these extra side quests definitely rewards you with separate things. The second area, I got like 3 side quests at one time. Like, hey, there's this area here where there could be something good. There's this area here with slaves. There's this area here. So I have these X marks all over my map, or I could just completely ignore them and just continue on with, you know, the main narrative and keep going on. But what I really like is that a lot of these side quest areas are very cool, very big areas, like I said, that feel like levels themselves straight from the classic Metro. Because that was my main concern, is I really like going through the tunnels, and I liked a little bit of the linear experience from the past Metros, and I was worried that was going to be lost in this game. It's not. The levels that interconnect these big areas are the classic Metro levels, and like I said, these complexes or areas within the open world also have a similar feeling to the past Metro as well. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. The game's beautiful. I love we were just talking about, I love the hands. The hands are great. Those gloves just look cool. Yeah, too. The gloves are freaking awesome. And you eventually have to take them off at some point, and just the hands look really good. Very detailed, like hairy knuckles that like just everything in the game is extremely detailed for the most part. Sometimes the faces are a little wonky, but then also sometimes the faces look really good. So I'm running this at 2560. I've got it locked to like 85 frames per second, and I've got it on medium settings. The open areas on PC are very demanding. I've heard some people say, I haven't looked too much into it, but this is like the new Crisis in terms of the benchmark, because it's a very hard game to run things with, especially on the new RTX cards with ray tracing and stuff like that. Yeah. But I'm just playing this on a 1080 Ti at locked at 80 medium settings, 2560p. Everything else pretty much ramped up, and it looks absolutely beautiful. And for the most part, there's hiccups every now and then in the open world. When I'm in confined spaces, it runs 100%, but in the open area, it runs like 90% perfect. Yeah, which is completely fine. It by no means does it make the game any worse or whatever. It's still extremely fun. I do see what some people are saying. I've read in, I think, primarily like PC Gamer's review, they said that there are some hiccups in terms of the first person combat, and I understand what they're saying. There are some enemies that clip through things, and sometimes there needs to be more gore satisfaction. Like I agree. There are some creatures that come up to you and you just headshot them with a shotgun point blank and they just fall back. Which it's satisfying combat because the weapons feel good and they're really cool weapons, especially the upgrading system with the weapons. You can take just like a dinky pistol and ultimately like upgrade it by finding pieces of like you can kill a guy and you'll see that he has a piece of his gun that you don't have, and you can remove it off and in the field actually put it on there. So you can have this regular shotgun and eventually evolve it into this big massive shotgun that does more damage and holds more rounds and has more stability and stuff. So that's really cool. But yeah, I feel like if I'm shooting somebody point blank, their head should blow off or something. I don't know, maybe because I was just playing Resident Evil, but I do feel like that seems, in this bleak, dark, horrible world, that actually feels kind of absent. Like something like that should be in this game. So that's the rest of it is fine. The stealth's fun. The whole mechanic of killing and knocking out people is back. There was one, and the world reacts to it as well. For instance, I'm in this desert area, which is actually it used to be an ocean, and it's just the water's gone, so there are a bunch of ships and stuff that are wrecked everywhere. And the first thing that I did when I was there is I had to go to an area because there was a car spotted, and this guy jumps me, and I accidentally killed him. And people talk about it. They're like, dude, these other people are going to be really pissed at you because you killed this guy. And it was a complete accident. It was like I just hit Q just because I was being attacked and snapped this dude's neck. Yeah. So the main bad guy of this area talks about it over the radio. Like, people react to me killing this guy. And I've seen that a lot. Like, if you approach people with your gun down, they're like, oh, thanks for approaching me. It's a little on the nose, but I still like it. Like, oh, you've approached me with your gun down. Hello, friend. Yeah. Like, they literally say stuff like that. Yeah. But I still appreciate it. It's cool. So that's cool. Oh yeah, and when I've saved some slaves, and this guy will be over the radio like, you think you could come here and set all these people free? Like, they're constantly reacting to what you're doing in the world as well, which is really, really cool. And I'm assuming, just like the other Metro games, there will be good and bad endings based on what you've done. Like, a little girl in the first area asked for a teddy bear, so I went way out of my way to get this teddy bear, which of course was like in this demon nest. Of course. And I give it to her, and I get the when you do something good, it goes like, like in the past Metro games over the screen and stuff. So there is that hidden morality meter and stuff that is going on as well. What else?
It doesn't seem to make that much of a difference because RDM continues to survive into the third game.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm assuming that still the good things he's done. Well, not necessarily. I believe in 2033, when you bomb the Dark Ones, that is the canon. Whereas, really? Yeah, when I played the game, I did not bomb them. Okay, I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
If only it had a Mass Effect approach where you could continue into the next game with your personal progress, and not just like whatever the developers have determined.
Yeah. But yeah, I really don't know what else to say. I think I've hit on the things that make it different from the past ones, but I'm really, really appreciating. Nothing too bad yet with the Epic Game Store. Everything's running fine there.
Very simplistic.
Yeah, it's extremely simplistic, but I'm playing the game, so I'm not nothing standing
so
out.
You're playing the game and like Fortnite ads keep popping up every 5 minutes.
I did uninstall Fortnite because it kept updating. I was like, dude, stop. I clicked X on the update a million times. I was like, I'm not playing you. But yeah, anything you'd like to add? That's pretty much
not really. I agree with all the stuff that you say you're digging, and I've played through a portion of the first big open area with the snow and the cult and everything, so I can relate to what you were saying about how they react. And I remember my own people even reacted when I killed someone. I got back to the trainer like, it's a shame you had to kill those people. They weren't really bothering you. But I dig that as well.
That's pretty much my approach. Is if somebody is shooting at me, I have to kill you. Sorry,
yeah, exactly.
But besides that, I'll try not to kill you.
Yeah, I tend to knock everyone else out when I can. I don't know why. I mean, every now and then, like in Dishonored, when the gore and kills are super satisfying with those gnarly weapons you have, that's when I tend to kill people because it's just so much fun to do it. But in this game, when they all, like you said, there's minimal gore effects, if any at all. It's just very basic blood effects. So knocking them out and killing them isn't that much of a difference anyway. So, but yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said, and I'm just excited to play more of it. I just got on the train, so I've yet to actually reach that first big area, but I am excited to play more of it. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, the game is a little slow at the beginning, but that's just kind of how the Metro games are. Every single one has been slow in the beginning, but once you actually get to the main part of the game where
Yeah.
you're on this journey and you get to the open areas, that's when the new mechanics start coming out, and it really starts
Like
to,
the backpack and everything.
yeah, it really starts to take on this.
I did think that when I first started. I'm like, they could have cut the part at the beginning where I can't even, I already forgot what happens at the beginning, if I'm being honest. Like the part where they're like, yo, we've saved you and cleansed your blood too many times. You can't do this again. I feel like it could have opened with you and Anna out and about and then you being captured right at the beginning. I feel like it could have started there instead. But I don't hold that against the game because I'm not reviewing it or anything. But
and Colonel Miller has the most advanced prosthetic legs of all time.
Yes.
I can't stop looking at him. I'm like, wow, for y'all to be like set back by just all this nuclear apocalypse.
You feel like, in a lot of ways, it feels like you've leapt forward in technology.
Yeah. It's like they animated him with regular legs, but then replaced him with prosthetic
You're
legs.
basically a Terminator.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Dexter Clark actually wrote in about Metro and says, hello, boss. So I was watching GamerRanks before you buy, and he mentioned that Metro is a AA mid-tier game. I thought this is a AAA title. What do you guys think? Having a lot of fun with the game, and New Dawn is surprisingly good. It's hard to say because in some ways, of course, graphically and even mechanically in a lot of ways, Metro has that polish of a AAA game, but at the same time, as it's a Deep Silver published this, correct?
Correct.
And they tended to publish predominantly AA games.
I guess.
So I don't know if it's the publisher that determines like what tier is it.
Yeah, or the amount of money that's put into it. Maybe.
Exactly, and I mean the 4A engine is obviously glorious, but
the only
it's hard
thing
to
I can
determine.
say is like playing the game, I'm not thinking I'm playing
right. It feels. I think
game.
in this case, I'd say it's more of like in the eye of the beholder, the eye of the player, because whatever it feels like to you, I mean, it feels like top quality to me, despite the hiccups here and there and everything. So. I don't know. I get this. That's up to you to determine. I don't think there's like an objective answer to that. But
I mean, I guess if I don't know the actual like regulations for this is a AA game.
Yeah.
I mean, if
maybe it does come down. It probably does come down to budget.
But somebody that doesn't know if it is or not, it feels like a AAA game. I mean, it's graphically it's stunning at times. Like it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
So.
I agree. Yeah, it's gorgeous and it runs pretty well. So it feels good to play too. So I cannot wait to play more of that. But anyway, I actually literally have to play Anthem. Oh, yeah? So let's talk about Anthem for a bit.
That's not too bad. I'm about level 9 or 10. I don't remember. So I think I've played about 6 or 7 hours. I'm playing on the PC with the Premier Origin thingy-mabobber. I just remembered you could do that because I really didn't want to buy Anthem, and I think I've talked about that on here. But just to almost rent it with a Premiere thing, I thought I'd give it a chance. And it's fun. I'm liking it a lot more than I thought I would. It's a lot better than the betas that I've played. It just feels like it runs better. The flying, I can't tell with the flying if I'm just completely used to it, but it feels like it's a whole lot more tighter than it was in the betas that we played. Well, I'm actually paying attention to the story now, and the story's pretty cool. The characters, your handler guy Owen, he it seems like it seems like BioWare always tries to make all of their characters super flamboyant and just ecstatic and hyper all the time, and he's just like one of those characters who's always like making jokes and like all the time is. So that's fine, I guess, but it seems like that trope has been played out so much now to where this like apocalypse, this really bad stuff is happening in the story, and of course you always have that one comic relief guy who's just cutting up and stuff, and he's your handler making jokes about everything. So that just feels very generic for, I guess. I don't know. But it's fine. The story is interesting. Just the entire world about what the Anthem is and the antagonist is interesting. So I'm a lot more into it than I thought I would, and there's a whole lot more story than per se. I guess people are relating this to Destiny, but I already feel like I understand a lot more, and there's an actual narrative here than I know Destiny had a narrative, but I actually kind of know what's going on in this game, and there are actual big cutscenes and things that, like, there are cutscenes in the middle of missions now, like kind of lengthy cutscenes and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the story and stuff so far. I hate the first person stuff. I don't like it at all.
You're talking about when you're just walking around the town?
I don't like it. I think there needs to be a jumping or a teleport on the map or something, that if I'm like all the way across the map from my javelin, I should be able to just pull up the map and just teleport to the javelin, or just teleport from there to start a mission. I hate that I have to just run through everything, talk to this guy. Like there just should be a way to access that stuff a lot more easy. There's no mini map while you're running around too. You just have this compass. So I'm constantly having to open the map to find out who I can go talk to, when I can go, just all that stuff. That's extremely annoying. I don't like that at all. So that's probably the main thing with the game right now, that it's just that's the main thing that I'm like, I'm not digging this in the slightest. I don't like you have to load to change your javelin and weapons and stuff. It's just annoying. It's like, okay, I'm gonna swap my weapons out. Let me have this loading screen. Wait for my javelin to load. Then I'll like. It should just be something to change your skills, and even the javelin and your weapons. It should be so simple and so fast. Like even if you load into the map or the mission, there should be like a box or something that you can just swap everything out super quick. So maybe they'll change that. I just don't know why you have to wait so long and jump through a hoop to just change something as simple as that. So that's pretty annoying. Everything else I like. The gameplay is extremely fun. The missions have been samey so far, but since I'm following the story, I actually know what I'm doing. That's helping a lot. But for the most part, just like I said every other week when I talk about Anthem, we're just flying to areas, shooting dudes, holding F on some things, flying around. But I'm playing as the Storm and the super fast javelin. I forgot his name. But I'm really enjoying both of those. I did get to play with them a lot in the VIP beta, so I'm enjoying having played multiple hours with each of them. I have no clue about in-game, no clue about any other things. I'm just playing through the main stories right now, and I'm having fun. So
cool.
It's cool.
Yeah, I imagine I'll have grievances with some of the same stuff you mentioned, but I've yet to play, unfortunately. I had just crash landed in the opening mission, and you walked up and you had arrived, so I had to stop. But I will eventually, hopefully this evening, sit down and play Anthem for the first time for more than about 30 seconds. So, yeah, I'm interested to see what my thoughts are when I've played several hours of it, because obviously I wouldn't say I've turned my heart off to this game. I just, nothing about it has appealed to me, since other than just than flying around in an Iron Man suit has been the only thing that really kind of grabbed my attention initially. So I'm hoping, like the gunplay and the missions and the story to an extent interests me. And I just do think it's funny when I was watching the opening cinematic. I just feel like in a board meeting when they're like, okay, we need to make a game. This is years ago, obviously. Like, we need to make a game that hits as hard as Destiny, where like a ton of people want to play it and just come back to it and spend money on it, blah, 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 blah. They're like, okay, we need a title. Like, what just sounds cool? Like, Destiny sounds cool. We need a word. What's a cool word that sounds cool? Like Anthem. They're like, okay, we're going to build our lore around the word Anthem. And I feel like they had the word and they just had like a room, like a whiteboard of like different branches coming off of it, like, how's this gonna work in the lore? And when they're saying like they called it the Anthem of Life, I'm like, this is hilarious. I'm sure it's cool when you get into it, but I feel like they came up with the word and then built the lore around the word just so the game would sound cool. But speaking of Anthem, what do you think of the Conviction short from Neil Blomkamp?
I did not watch it.
Okay. It's interesting because it's one of those things like you did with Halo, where it very much looks like a movie trailer. It's like, oh, I can't wait to see like the feature-length version of this trailer, when in reality it's just a trailer for a movie that'll never exist, I assume. But I mean, I don't know who it is. I mean, I know he has his own studio called Oat Studio. It's a YouTube channel, and they do a lot of cool visual effects heavy, like sci-fi shorts. And a lot of them are really, really cool. And obviously in the past, I mean, he did a great job with District 9. It's weird because ever since District 9, and even that isn't a perfect movie, but I still love District 9 for many reasons. Ever since then, I feel like Neil Blomkamp hasn't made anything that's really impressed me. Like Elysium with Matt Damon had some cool action in it, and there were parts of that I really enjoyed. But I didn't love that movie, and then I never saw Chappie because I thought it looked so dumb. And I'll never forget this shot of, this is so random, but Hugh Jackman like peering around a corner with binoculars looking at the robot. It's like the funniest thing I've ever seen. And so I never saw Chappie, but I know critically he hasn't done well since District 9. But what's interesting is that he continues to make really cool stuff in spite of all that. And his YouTube channel is cool. If you haven't seen it, it's Oat Studio, like a bowl of oatmeal. But I say that because whoever's doing his visual effects on his team are just phenomenal, and it's like a cross between. I mean, obviously it's visual effects, but they look just amazing. I remember that blowing my mind even back in the day with the Halo 3 trailers he directed, and the short itself looks magnificent. I mean, it's like everyone's dream. I mean, obviously Anthem's a very new game, but it'd be like seeing like back in the day those Halo trailers and being like, this is what a Halo movie could look like, and this is obviously what an Anthem movie could look like, and it looks incredible. But we may never actually get that. But the short itself was cool, and it pitched sort of a interesting story about this girl they find in the forest who's like the chosen one for the javelins or something. I'd have to rewatch it again to really understand exactly the story it's trying to tell, but visually looks incredible. And I'm like, that trailer kind of made me want to play the game a little bit more just because it looks so cool. But yeah, Neil Blomkamp does really good work, and I was really impressed with Conviction.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm looking forward to play more of it.
Me too. Hopefully I'll get to play tonight, if not maybe tomorrow night, so it'd be good. But yeah, I'd love to hear, of course, everyone's thoughts on Metro and Apex and Anthem and everything, but I assume you haven't dabbled in Far Cry at all. New Dawn. Me neither.
No.
I don't think I am either.
Yeah, I'll wait for a sale.
I haven't heard anything bad about it. I've heard it's just more Far Cry. Like that's typically the synopsis or the reaction to Far Cry games is more Far Cry. But I really enjoyed 5, and from what I hear, New Dawn is basically 5 with just more colors and worse characters and worse story.
At some point, I'll be into something like that, especially if it's really cheap at some point.
Yeah.
So.
If I'm in the mood to run around and just stealth kill some guys like typical Far Cry, I'm sure at some point I'll get into it.
For sure. I played a little bit more Kingdom Hearts.
Okay. How you feeling about it?
I beat the Pirates of the Caribbean world, so I think I finished all of the Disney worlds.
Okay. You know where you head next?
Yes.
Is it a spoiler?
Yes.
Okay, never mind.
Well, I don't know where I'm heading next, but something happened in the story that I probably can't really talk about. But yeah. Maybe I'll finish it.
The question remains, when am I going to start that? And the real question is, will I ever start it? Dare I say, man? I don't know. The more I see of it, more clips, and the more reactions I hear to it, the less I want to play it for some reason. I haven't even heard spoilers. I'm just the people think, even what you say about it, I'm like,
it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun for sure. And I feel like I kind of know what's going on. Maybe. I have like a false hope of I kind of know what's going on. But there's just, I want to play everything but that right now. So
I'm sure Jacob's butt cheeks quivered if you listen to this podcast hearing me say I may never play Kingdom Hearts 3.
I'm almost done with it. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 30 hours in. I've done all the Disney worlds, and I've heard people's time to be like 25 to 30 hours. And I know I'm taking my time doing a lot of different stuff, finding a bunch of collectibles and everything. So I can't be super far from the end. So
I'm nearing it. I of course am. It's funny. That's why I say, will I ever play it? Because I still have a little more I need to do for Crackdown. I have a lot of stuff I have to do for Anthem. I obviously want to play Metro, and I'm also addicted to Apex. So when am I going to have time for Kingdom Hearts? Yeah. But I owe it to myself to play it at some point, just like I owe it to myself to finish Persona 5 at some point, which I'm still holding out for a Switch port at some point. That would just make my life. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, granted, I love PlayStation, and it's fine there. But if I could take it on the go with as often as I'm on the move, it'd be wonderful. But
hey, Dragon Quest 11.
Now I'm excited about that. And we're going to talk about this Nintendo news here soon. But before we do so, we have a couple questions concerning Apex Predators. Not Predators, excuse me, Legends. I keep wanting to call it Apex Predators. Hungarian Ronin writes in and says, Konnichiwa, brochachos. I don't like BRs, but got dragged into Apex by my entire friends list. I'm about 2 hours in with a few wins under my belt and getting into the groove. The groove. The game has a lot to offer, but could this be the Fortnite killer? If you've played, how are you liking it? And lastly, what do you think they'll introduce to spice things up? Titanfall mechs, perhaps? I can only see one randomly spawning or a full mech mode. Cheers. Well, Hungarian, let me first say thank you for the support you've thrown my way this past week or so. And these dark days we're experiencing. It's good to hear from you, though. Thanks for writing in, and I'm glad to hear you're also enjoying Apex. I don't know if they'll ever bring in the Titans themselves.
I know Vince Zampella said something very cryptic about there will be more Titanfall things either this year, or they are working on things in the Titanfall universe. I think it'd be
what I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if a pilot was an actual one of the characters. And like maybe his ability is running on walls, but granted the map isn't really equipped to run on walls, but maybe he has some sort of ability that just makes him like the pilot from the game.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Maybe like a double jump or something.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think they will inevitably do, like you just said, something Titanfall is coming to Apex. Like it has to. Titans, I don't know. I think that'd be an interesting separate mode, but I don't know, man. Having played Titanfall 2, just dudes are, nothing to a Titan.
Yeah.
Like they're absolutely nothing. So I would be interested to see how that would even work in a BR. You know, I feel like they would have to make you just significantly less powerful. I mean, they did something like that in Fortnite. I would almost relate it to the Thanos in Fortnite, just with instead of Thanos, you're just a Titan. And until somebody takes you down, then they could become the Titan.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun, like a little like one-off weekend event or something.
Yeah, that'd be fine then, I guess.
I mean, you got to think about the Titan. How's it going to, considering how vertical some of the portions of the map are, is the Titan going to move around in this place? But I guess it could work. He probably wouldn't fit through some places. I mean, granted, that's like Titanfall multiplayer too, but I don't know. It's fun to speculate on that kind of stuff. But I think it'd be cool if a pilot was one of the characters in the game.
I think that actually, I haven't heard anybody say that yet. That seems like a safe bet. Yeah.
It'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Have all the weapons made their way to Apex already? Or do they pick and choose stuff from Titanfall? I haven't been able to notice. Because I'm not that familiar with Titanfall's weapons. Because I recognize many of them.
They're like grenade launchers, and they're the anti-Titan weapons that are not in Apex.
Okay,
but I think for the most part, they're like the smart gun. That'd be an interesting gun to drop, the smart gun.
Just like a super rare drop.
Yeah. That has like almost no ammo. Trying to think. Yeah, there's like, I think some are more pistols and kind of things like that. But for the most part, the same weapons are in it.
Nice. Yeah, Apex is so much fun. The more we talk about it, the more I want to play. Get Some also wrote in and says, "Hello there, spicy boys. Per the request of Sir Jalka27 during his stream, this question goes out to Garrett. Sir Garrett, why you no play Apex with Jacob more?" Well, it's because I'm too busy, unfortunately.
I think you've already answered that.
Yeah, hence why I only have 2 wins under my belt. I've played just enough with the right squad to get 2 wins, so I, of course, want to play more, but I just have had no time. And every time Jacob streams, I typically am not able to play. So one of these days, I'll team up with Jacob again. I know Jacob's doing pretty well, too, from what I remember.
No, he stinks.
Does he?
Yeah.
It's because he's not... Well, yeah, of course he stinks. He's got the stanky Rangus.
Yeah.
He's hiding that Rangus from everyone. He needs to unleash it, and then he'll be good. So I don't know if he's checked that poll recently, or not the poll, the petition.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know how many people signed it.
I haven't either.
So I signed it because it's very important to me.
I signed it, too. Do your civic duty and sign the petition.
Yeah, please, because Jacob needs to learn that he can't be anything until he embraces the Rangus. But before we jump into the news, Kyle writes in and says, "Fellas, holy shit. The hype train is geared up and is firing on all cylinders after Nintendo's recent direct. From Astral Chain being developed by our Lord and Savior Platinum Games to more info on the new Fire Emblem title. I am pretty much full mast at this point, 100% erect, and it's lasted more than 4 hours. With all that aside, it's shaping up to... where does this go? With all that aside, it's shaping up to look like another fantastic year for gaming. Did you guys enjoy the particularly weeb-centric direct? What's one title Nintendo can release this year to pull you from the PC master race back onto the Switch? I know mine will be Astral Chain. Also, I come as the anime ambassador of IOG, and we implore you to watch Rising of the Shield Hero and The Promised Neverland. They are both on Crunchyroll and are definitely worth your time. Love y'all to death and keep everything sexually charged." Well, we are always fully sexually charged, so you can count on that. And I'll probably check out those anime.
No, you're not.
After Bodyguard. I'm watching Bodyguard on Netflix. No, I really will, because every now and then I get in the mood, and I've already watched My Hero, so...
I still haven't finished that.
I haven't watched season, is it 3 of Titanfall? Not Titanfall, Attack on Titan.
2.
I thought there's 3 seasons now. Because I've seen season 2.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in the third season now.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Because I need to watch that too.
I've watched whatever's out. I've watched
Okay, I need to watch that.
I don't remember.
Then maybe I'll try these other 2 shows. But I'm watching Bodyguard on Netflix right now. It's pretty good. I neglected it for a while. It interested me, but at the time I didn't have time to watch it. But it's pretty good.
So what's going to pull you from the PC Master Race?
Well, how about you bring us in and then we'll talk about what was announced.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll determine that because it's hard for me to pick and choose. Maybe I'll pick like a top 3 because there's more than one, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, this is the It's Obvious podcast, the show where my 2 best friends and I normally get together every single week to discuss video games. Obviously, you can find all of our content, including the video version of this podcast, over at youtube.com/ItsObviousGaming. If YouTube is good for you or you'd like to take us on the go, you can find this podcast weekly on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audio Boom, Spotify, and other podcasting services. Please check the description down below for links to our social media pages, our Discord channel, our origin names now for Apex, PSN community, pretty much everything you would ever need to get in contact with us. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to like and comment down below to get involved with the It's Obvious community. Doing so helps us out tremendously, and we would forever be in your debt. With all that out of the way, hey man, what's the news?
Well, courtesy of Ohbulgruf, Mr. Kyle, our anime ambassador of the community, he's brought to our attention, of course, that the Nintendo Direct happened this past week, and a lot was unveiled, which is pretty exciting. So I have every single announcement at the Nintendo Direct concerning 2019, and it's pretty rad. So I'm just gonna fly through these and. You stop me if you need to stop me, and we'll talk about which ones we're excited for.
I think there are probably 2 that we need to talk about. The rest you can just mention.
Notably, Box Boy and Box Girl, and
for sure,
this Damon Machina game.
Yeah,
we don't really need to mention the rest, but we'll do so out of the courtesy of our hearts. Yeah. Super Mario Maker 2 is happening.
Does that rile your jimmies at all?
I would say it would because, or it does, because I never played the first one and I was always super intrigued by that. And thinking about taking that on the go, man, gets my loins nice and primed. So I'm
very, it's cool. And I was excited when they showed it.
Yeah.
But I don't really care.
Okay, it's dwindled for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's just like I'm just not really into it.
I mean, this isn't something that'll keep me up at night in anticipation.
I won't get this.
Okay.
So
I'm a Mario man myself. Anything Mario, I'm going to play more than likely. I haven't played, obviously, many Mario titles, but any of them that are easily accessible, notably Odyssey and anything else that winds up on Switch, Mario Kart, for example, Mario Tennis, I'm going to pick it up.
Okay.
So, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, and you have a lot to say about this, so let's hear it.
I don't know if I have a lot to say about it.
You had a lot to say on the phone when we talked.
Oh, yeah. I'm extremely excited for this. This is the remake that I never knew I wanted, but I need it now. I have a lot of nostalgia for Link's Awakening. I used to rent it all the time as a kid. And just the premise of renting Game Boy games is just so hilarious to me now. But that was a thing back then. So I would go to Blockbuster, rent this game all the time. Never beat it. I was a stupid kid. But
very stupid.
Yeah, very stupid. But yeah, I played the absolute crap out of this game. And I remember seeing the picture of Link on his boat and just the pixelated green color and stuff on the back of my Game Boy box. And I didn't know what the game was. I thought that the game was built in on the Game Boy I guess because it was just on the back of the box. So I had this epiphany one day. I was like, oh my gosh, I know how to play the game. I turned the Game Boy on with no cartridge in, and then the game starts. So I was super bummed when I finally got home and tried that out, and Link's Awakening did not start. But I think I know I've seen some people kind of go back and forth in the art style, but I think it looks great. I'm extremely interested to see the gameplay changes that they will make with this game, with obviously the Game Boy only having an A and a B button and keeping the inventory restrictive due to those buttons, just to see the gameplay changes they'll have, not having the game in squares, just things like that. But yeah.
How do you feel about the art style?
It was good.
Okay. Did you already say that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I was reading something while you said that.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
But I think it looks cool. I mean, ever since Breath of the Wild and after finally finishing Ocarina of Time after playing it for a decade, I have like a newfound appreciation for Zelda, so I'm definitely going to try this one.
And I don't think you've ever played a classic top-down.
No, I haven't.
Zelda as well.
Yeah, I dabbled in them as a kid, but I didn't fully understand them, kind of like you did. I was also a total idiot. Yeah. So I put them down pretty quickly, but nowadays I think I'll really, really be into it. So
yeah. And thank God, when the animation started, I knew immediately it was Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
I was so
you pooped
excited.
a little bit.
I did. I completely stopped the Apex match I was in because I was watching this on the side, turned it off, and just completely got focused in on this. I knew it was coming. But I had a slight fear in my heart that it was going to be a 3DS game. But the second I saw the graphical style, I knew it was on Switch. So that made me feel better. I was so thankful we even got to see gameplay. I was scared they were just going to show the splash screen and end the direct there. But
yeah, no release date or window, but it is supposedly coming out this year. So that's really exciting. Do you have any predictions on when it might land? I mean, some of these games have release dates, so obviously they're not going to drop this in the midst of some of the others, but...
I don't know.
What's coming out this fall aside from like typical Call of Duty and stuff that we know of?
I really don't know. I actually looked at that this morning, seeing what was coming out.
Sony's got to have something this fall.
Next couple of months. I know Days Gone is coming in April.
Yeah. I imagine Sony's going to have at least a game fall holiday season. It's hard to determine what that might be, because I could see, of course, Last of Us, Ghost, and Death Stranding all coming next year or beyond.
I mean, I could see The Last of Us coming out this
year.
I could see it, but I could also see it not come out for another 2 years.
I'd be fine if they release one more trailer. I don't even need gameplay, just one more trailer, and then with the announcement of the release date, and then it'd land like later this year.
Yeah, but awesome. As far as Zelda, I don't really know. Maybe this holiday. I feel like if it was coming out at the same time as like Breath of the Wild did, which was in March, I believe, we obviously would have gotten a release date already. So with no release date, probably this fall.
How crazy would it be if Last of Us released in place of Sony's absence at E3, just like in the middle of E3 it drops? It'd be pretty awesome. Granted, that may not be a good idea if you think about all the people that would be. Well, granted, from a consumer standpoint, it'd be fine. But for some reason, my mind's all wrapped up in the media side of things. It's like, well, everyone would be at E3. No one's going to get to play it, but the whole world would be able to play it.
I don't think a $60 AAA release will ever be shadow dropped. It's got to be.
Yeah, I don't mean like shadow drop, but like maybe they'll announce a release date in like the next couple of months, and like it's coming out June 5th or something. The previous one came out in May or June, didn't it? It came out in June.
Always like the week. The first one came out like a week before E3.
Yeah, I will never forget that day. Coming home from school, you and I both got Taco Bell, got our copies, and played the opening, and you come running into our room because you were playing in the other room. You're like, dude. And I hadn't reached that climactic moment at the beginning yet. Yeah. And it scared me a little bit. I will never forget that day.
It's a good day.
So I hope we have a similar reaction to the sequel.
I took the entire work week off to play the game.
Yeah, you took a lot of work weeks off to play games in that apartment.
What's funny is I say that, and that seems like reasonable, but the game came out on Friday.
It did.
But I took the entire week.
Just in anticipation.
Just Friday.
I have to mentally and physically prepare for the release of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm hoping the sequel delivers even more so than the first one.
So. Yeah, Link's Awakening is rad. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I mean, of course, I haven't played the original, but I'm intrigued, and it looks adorable.
You'll play this one.
Oh, I will. Astral Chain is also coming. And the reason why Kyle's excited is because it is directed by Platinum Games' Takahisha Taro. Forgive me. Known for his work as the game designer on Nier Automata and supervised by Hideki Kayamiya, creator of the Bayonetta series. Astral Chain has you a part of a police special forces unit in a multicultural futuristic city. Players work together with a special living weapon, the Legion. Astral Chain for Nintendo Switch has a release date of August 30th. That does sound pretty cool.
Pretty sick.
That sounds awesome. And taking it on the go. Anything you can take on the go is just wonderful for me these days. And yet I hardly play the Switch. Fire Emblem 3 Houses is coming. What I'm most excited for, as I had mentioned, Box Boy and Box Girl.
Are you interested in Fire Emblem at all? It's like I want to get interested, but I don't know if I am.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you anything about it. It's because I guess I'm some sort of son of a bitch. But yeah, Box Boy and Box Girl has me leaking a bit of feces over on my end of the table here.
Okay.
Tetris 99's coming. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. That's pretty cool.
Tetris 99 is here.
Is it here?
It's here. And
ASS is available today.
Are freaking out about it.
Yep. Free to download.
Yeah. Cool. Well, free to download, but you need Nintendo Online to play it.
Of course. How does 99 players compete together? That's cool. How does it stand up against Tetris Effect? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No way. Man, that's got to be the final frontier of Battle Royale.
Yeah. People are really digging it too.
Dude, I kind of want to try that. That's cool. And that's cool that Bloodstain's coming too, because originally I figured I'd play this on PS4, but I think I'd like to play it on Switch. I still have, is it Curse of the Moon on Switch? Yeah, I haven't finished that yet, but I beat the first or second boss, I think. So that was back when I was playing Switch consistently. Yeah. Mortal Kombat 11. Of course we knew that. Yoshi's Crafted World. Captain Toad.
Demo's out for that.
Ooh, even better.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll do that at work tonight. I'm going to be super bored. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker update and special episode DLC. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate update. Before the end of April, Joker from Persona 5 will be available as a playable fighter. Announced in December, Joker is the first of Fighters Pass DLC fighter to join the game's expansive cast. New amiibo like Snake, Simon, Squirtle, Pokemon Trainer, and Ivysaur will be available this year too. Hellblade. Sinuous Sacrifice. Easily one of the coolest game titles of all time, in my opinion. Great game too. I never finished, but I'm aware of how much people enjoy it and appreciate it. Daemon X Machina.
Mm-hmm.
Free demo called Prototype Missions is available for a limited time. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order. Knew about that one.
I'm confused by this game. It looks like a mobile game. Like, I'm not hyped for this at all. Like, am I alone in that?
I'm not hyped for it.
It doesn't look.
Don't get me wrong. I love me some Marvel, but
like I appreciated Alliance 1 and 2, but this looks like I said, a mobile spinoff or something. I don't know.
Preston, maybe you're an asshole. You ever think of that?
Maybe.
I'm probably not going to play it.
No, I'm definitely not. Unless somebody is like, guys, this is the best thing ever. Then you'll pique my interest.
Well, tell me if this is the best thing ever. Dragon Quest XI S, Echoes of an Elusive Age.
It's really good. It's got me extremely jealous, primarily because
of the music, right?
The music, yeah, it's orchestrated now. So I really hope there's an update or something to the PlayStation version to give me that other music.
I feel like hardcore fans that picked it up on PS4 are owed that update.
For sure.
So
I would pay $1 or so to do that.
I got to say, I've never played a Dragon Quest game, but I've heard nothing but praise for 11 aside from the music. So maybe at some point I'll play this on Switch.
That's literally just me.
I've heard rumblings of that in comment sections when I was looking at reviews for it and everything.
11 is a good time for sure.
Okay.
I'm still playing it.
Maybe one of these days I'll play it, like everything else I keep saying maybe one of these days too. Dragon Quest Builders 2. Oninaki?
Sure.
Man, I would be doomed if I even attempted to speak Japanese in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
As hard as I try, I just can't do it. I'm just a generic white man who can speak basic English, if that. New Star Fox missions and Starlink Battle for Atlas. Whoa. Disney Tsum Tsum Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Rune Factory 4 Special and Rune Factory 5. Delta Rune. Final Fantasy 7. It's coming, one of the greatest games of all time will finally be available on Nintendo Switch following its PlayStation and PC exclusivity on March 26th. Final Fantasy 9.
Out now.
Mm-hmm. Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody. Dead by Daylight. That's kind of cool. Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered. That's coming May 21st. Unravel 2. Grid Autosport. That's all of them.
That's really cool.
So aside from Zelda, Mario Maker, maybe Dragon Quest, and what's the other one that? The Chain game and Bloodstain and Tetris. I think that'd be my top 5 games I'm excited for Switch.
Well, let's talk about what wasn't here, and that's the Metroid Prime trilogy.
Does that concern
Switch.
you?
It doesn't concern me.
Do you think that you think it's still a possibility?
No, I think it is happening. Mm-hmm. I'm just a little bummed it's not coming out this year, I think. And I think that's primarily due to Metroid Prime 4 completely being... If Metroid Prime 4 was on track of coming out either this year or next year, I think we would totally be getting the trilogy. But since it's pushed, I think they don't want to just throw that out here and then have Prime 4 come out like in
2 years.
4 years or something.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, we'd be lucky if it was out in 2 years. I would say at best 3.
Starting over.
At best, it's got to be 3.
3 for sure.
But yeah, that would hit really hard about maybe not a year, maybe 6 to 8 months before the 4th one.
And it's cool we're getting this Zelda remake. Like for sure, I'm super excited. But where's Twilight Princess and Wind Waker on Switch? I would
play the F out of both of those if they came to Switch.
I'm excited. I almost
bought a Wii U for Wind Waker back in the day.
I want Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess. Love it.
Do you love me as much as that game?
Almost.
Almost?
Yeah, almost. That's how much I love it.
What if I tattooed my entire body of all the art from Twilight Princess? Would you love me then?
No.
Okay. That's pretty disappointing.
Sorry. You don't play the Hyrule theme of Starlight Princess is the best.
I'll play that on a recorder.
Is the best theme.
I'll play it on a recorder.
Okay.
I can play Hot Cross Buns. I can play that song.
Yeah.
I can play anything if you can play Hot Cross Buns.
Okay.
Probably play Smoke on the Water while I'm at it.
But yeah, so yeah.
Well,
it was a good direct.
I love you in spite of that, Preston, just so you know.
Thank you.
That's what you mean to me.
I appreciate it.
I'm crying tears internally that we don't have time to go to Taco Bell after this. Maybe I'll do it anyway.
Maybe that'd be pretty cool.
Be pretty bold. If we can get through these community questions, maybe I will.
All right, let's go.
That'd be pretty cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to community questions, the part of the show where we answer your questions directly. Our personal favorite, what's the word for segment of the podcast, because we can communicate with you directly, and it's always a.
Oh, I do want to say something really, really quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I swear it's quick.
Okay.
Resident Evil 2 Ghost Survivors came out Friday.
Yeah.
My disappointment is immeasurable for what that DLC is.
I've seen it in action. It looks kind of ridiculous.
It's just like the hunk mode, but with other characters. So I thought it was gonna.
It's basically an arcade mode.
Oh yeah, and that's fine. Like it's cool, but like I thought it was going to act. It was like these are the what if scenario. I thought it was gonna actually be like a story scenario of what if, and there's.
I just hear the Benny Hill theme just like echoing in my brain when I see this gameplay.
Yeah. But. So really bummed by that, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, you win some, you lose some, I guess. Yeah. But community questions.
I didn't pay for it, so I don't care. But
yeah, I don't know if I'm ever going to play that. I don't know if I'll even be able to play Resident Evil 2 ever again at this point. I've played Leon's campaign once, but maybe one day. It's always maybe with me.
I will probably play it at some point. It's there. You got it. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for clarifying.
Yeah, no problem.
But if you want your questions read on this show live on air, you can reach us in one of three places. You can email us at ItsObviousGaming@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at obvious_gaming or submit your questions in the Ask IOG section of our Discord channel. Now, if you want your questions read live, always include the hashtag AskIOG along with your question so that we know you want your questions read on the show and we don't read your private messages by accident. First one comes from Jacob Walters. Jacob writes in and says, "Sup, boys? A lot of good stuff came out this week. So what's the best gaming weekend you can remember? Sending love and prayers your way, Garrett. Keep fighting. You guys are the best." Jacob, thank you so much for the love and prayers, my friend. It means the world to me. Best gaming weekend. Mine's plural. I'd say every best gaming weekend I've ever had has been with my buddies when we're either split screen playing Halo 3 or playing Rock Band at full blast on the top floor of my parents' house. Any weekend where I was with all my buddies playing Halo, for the most part, were always the best gaming weekends. And of course, I've had some that, like me and Preston just talked about with Last of Us when it launched, was really awesome. But yeah, any weekend I've spent with friends playing games have been some of my favorites. What about you?
Probably my favorite is when Skyrim came out.
Mm-hmm.
I know
that's a big one for me too. It came out on
a Tuesday, but I still had work and I had stuff to do, so I just could not wait until that weekend. And I think I literally woke up one Saturday morning and didn't stop until Monday morning or something. Yeah. So that's one of the most memorable ones where I actually planned and had food and had everything cut off. I haven't really done that since then. So.
Mm-hmm. I'd say the first weekend we spent with Modern Warfare 2 sticks out to me as well.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think I'll forever in my heart hold dear those memories of playing with everyone split screen Halo 3.
For sure.
J.H. Cummings writes in and says, "Hey boys, hope you all are doing well and feeling a little better, Garrett. Been listening to you guys for a while now, all the way from the UK. Found it cool how you mentioned last week that you enjoy discovering members of your community from overseas, so I thought I would email in for the first time. Love listening every week and can't wait for you guys to blow up and get the recognition you deserve. My friend and I have been thinking about starting a podcast for a while now, Comedy Talk Game Show, and have always struggled getting started. My question to you glorious gentlemen would be, what made you want to start a podcast, and could you give any advice or tips on how to get started or things you wish you knew going in? Thanks again for the great content every week and keep it sexy." Well, Mr. Cummings, thank you so much for writing in and wishing me well and also expressing your support for the podcast. It means the world to us. And you're from the UK, which is awesome. I'm hoping to eventually explore much of the UK one of these days. But in regards to a podcast, We started because we were, of course, fans of multiple gaming podcasts back in the day. Notably, Kind of Funny was kind of what pushed us over the edge to starting our own originally. And it just came to a point where I think it was Preston who was like, yes, we just want to start it. We have no idea what we're doing, but let's just start it. So I would say my advice going in is, of course, be aware of the services that exist for new podcasts. Notably, Audio Boom has been incredible for us, but we didn't apply to Audio Boom until we were like 40 episodes in. Podcast existed exclusively on YouTube for the first 40 or so episodes. So even our RSS feed on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, I think, starts around the 40s somewhere and goes on. So the original 40 or so episodes are only on our YouTube channel. So yeah, be aware of, I mean, there's different services you can use, but one I'd recommend is Audio Boom. Just go to audioboom.com and it'll walk you through the entire process of uploading episodes and getting hooked up with Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everything. So I would say that for sure, and just being consistent with it. I mean, it can be hard in the beginning, and especially when no one's listening, because there was a period of time where we had people listening, but we had no interaction whatsoever for many, many weeks. I'd say close to the first year was pretty slow for us, but it was the few of you out there, and I think some of the first were Edgar and Hooded Dude Felipe, who started commenting on our YouTube videos on the podcast, and that's really what kept us going. So I'd say just press on steadfast, even in the days where no one's responding to your content, because it's worth doing, and eventually people will chime in if they're enjoying it. And that support is what's propelled us and kept us going for nearly 4 years now. What day of the week? What day is it? We are 6 days away from our 4-year anniversary of It's Obvious Gaming, which is insane to think about. Yeah. And nearing 200 episodes is just wild, and we would have never made it here without the support. So.
Yeah, and also, if there is like a niche that you are extremely knowledgeable about, make a podcast.
Embrace that.
About that, as well, because like there's a billion podcasts where they just talk about everything.
Yeah, like yeah, and we're one of them. Yeah, so that's why I'm amazed really that people still tune in.
But
yeah, it's been an amazing ride, and I'd say that's our advice on why we started a podcast. But of course, you don't even need the best gear in the world. If you have just the bare minimum, like some decent mics, and you can download Audacity for recording for free and edit and export from there. So that's really all you need. So there's a lot of accessible stuff out there for starting a podcast.
For sure.
But yeah, thanks for writing in, JH, and it's cool to hear from you all the way from jolly good UK. Granted, I guess the UK embraces, I know, like Scotland's in there, right? Ireland's in there. Am I crazy to think that? France is in there.
That's just Europe. Isn't the UK just
most of Europe? I would say, not all of it.
I don't know.
My geography, man, is it's absent completely. But it's great to hear from you nonetheless. Speaking of getting things started on podcasts and such, Game Nerd 1 writes in and says, "Hey boys, what is up? I recently started a YouTube channel and I'm thinking of starting a podcast right now. And I have a really bad mic and was wondering if you guys had any recommendations of a mic I could get and use. The channel name is The Raven Gamer 1. And hope you guys are feeling better than last week, Garrett, and hope you find a way to deal with it. Love you guys and have a great week." Well, Game Nerd, thank you so much for the love and support, my friend. And it's cool to hear that you're starting a YouTube channel and possibly a podcast. Obviously, we can relate. I know many of our community members can relate as well. So that's why I always want to reiterate when we're reading these questions that they aren't just for us to answer, it's for the community as a whole. So if you're compelled to comment on YouTube or even chime in on Discord somewhere to some of these questions, we can all help each other out with this kind of stuff. But in regards to mics, it comes down to your budget. The mics we have are good, but they're by no means like the best you can buy. Because Preston's using the Audio-Technica 2020 and I have the 2035, and they're slightly different. I mean, mine's arguably from a spec standpoint better than Preston's, but it's very minimal. And Jacob has the most versatile mic, I'd say. He has the Shure SM7B, which is one of the most popular podcasting mics out there. And I actually don't get to tweak his as much as I'd like for it to sound as good as it could, because all of our mics are going to a single source, recorded audio source. So I'm editing all of our mics simultaneously. So I kind of have to pick and choose what the middle ground is for all of them sounding decent. Whereas if we recorded to 3 separate tracks, I could really spruce them up a lot. But that's besides the point. But as far as acquiring microphones, the three, mine and Preston's, I'd say, are the most affordable. I think ours are around $150, maybe.
This is $100.
Okay, so the 2020 is $100. I think this might be. I think this is $120. The 2035
for the price, and I think it's of course,
it's solid.
It's all on your budget, but
Yeah.
for $100 for a mic that'll last you a really, really, really long time and is extremely solid, I think that's a pretty good deal.
Oh yeah, totally. And if you wanted to go cheaper than that, I know the
Of course, you need a mixer and stuff as well.
I think they're called the blue snowballs.
Yeah,
right.
I see people use those.
I mean, those even like the USB kind where you just plug right into your laptop. Those also can do wonders.
Again, it's your budget, because if you just get a standard like XLR mic, of course you need a mixer to go into and everything, as opposed to just, like you said, some of those blue ones, or the Yetis or whatever they are, can just be direct USB. So
snowballs, Yetis or snowballs, whatever they're called. The USB inputs are really convenient for that kind of stuff. And so whatever's in your budget. I think the Yetis and everything are under $100. Some of them are.
Is that even what it is? A Yeti?
I have no idea.
That's a cooler.
Just Google either blue snowball or blue Yeti. Or
I know there's blue.
For some reason, Garrett and Preston were telling me to buy a thermos as a microphone. But any mic that has a USB cable to plug into your laptop, I would recommend if that's within your budget. But you have multiple options out there, but that's some of the ones we could throw your way. But yeah, we encourage you to pursue the YouTube channel and keep at it, man. I know it's not hard to get, or it's difficult to get started and stay consistent and motivated, but go for it. Excited to see how it turns out.
Yeah, a Yeti is a type of microphone, so I wasn't completely wrong.
Cool. Dillard writes in. Dillard! What's up, dummies? Have you guys seen anything about Halo Outpost Discovery? It's basically a traveling Halo theme park. It's got like a museum and some VR attractions along with laser tag and a ton of... and a ton of game stations. What are your thoughts, and is there another franchise that would be cool to see do something like this? Stay organic. Well, Dillard, I have heard of Halo Outpost Discovery. I haven't seen if it's coming to Atlanta. I doubt it's coming to Atlanta, but that'd be really cool because I'd definitely check it out. Of course, I have repeatedly stated for many years now I'm a pretty hardcore fan of Halo, and this would be a lot of fun to go to one weekend. I kind of want to look into it. I don't know what kind of VR attractions they have, but Halo laser tag, especially if the guns are themed, they're not really themed, but designed after Halo weapons themselves, could be cool. A ton of game stations. It'd be cool if, obviously this isn't the case, but if Halo Infinite was playable, like a demo of Halo Infinite was playable at this event. But yeah, that sounds like a ton of fun. I'd drag my buddy Zach to it. I think we'd have a ball. Probably fall back in love. I haven't seen him in so long, but we love Halo and we love each other. So hopefully this comes somewhere nearby. But I'm going to stay organic, of course. Of course, I'm stalling because Preston's urinating profusely in my restroom currently. But I have heard of it, and it sounds fun. But in the meantime, I'm holding out hope for Halo Infinite that, one, it doesn't suck. I don't think it will suck. I'm hoping 343 has learned from Halo 4 and 5 what they need to do to really make the best Halo game possible post-Bungie. But I have no idea what else to say. I'm just waiting for Halo Infinite, and maybe one day I will attend Halo Outpost Discovery. I'd love to do so. How'd your pee go? Great. Well,
it's real nice.
Dillard and I just had a discussion about Halo Outpost Discovery, and we're moving on. It's good to have you back.
Cool. Yeah.
Pal Bam Zing writes in and says, "This is a wild question, but have you ever thought about doing a live segment with fans of the podcast? I don't know how it would work, but if you took live questions on air through Discord and put them into the broadcast feed, that might be kind of cool. Probably would take a lot of coordination and planning to do, but it struck me that it might make a fun segment." Well, Pal Bam Zing, we have considered that in the past. We actually flirted with the idea of not only doing the podcast live at some point, but also doing Ask IOG specifically live, because I think the live questions make things a lot more interesting. But you're right, it does take a lot of coordination and planning, and we were fairly consistent with our Twitch streams for a while there, but we kind of dropped out because we got busy. So we kind of have to build up that momentum again, which would take a lot of work, and we'd have to promote it pretty heavily for at least a couple of weeks to let the community know we're doing a live Ask OG on this day, on a day that kind of makes sense for everyone, because I know a lot of you are from around the world, and coordinating a time that kind of works for everyone. Like, it'd be a very specific hour to make it work. But we have dabbled with that idea in the past. I wouldn't say it's ever out of the question. It's nothing I don't think we'll do in the immediate future, but we have thought about that, and it would definitely be fun. So one of these days, I'd love to do that. I think it'd be cool. Matthew Durkin writes in and says, "Hey, boys, is it too late to buy a PS4 Pro or Xbox One X? This generation maybe has 3 years or less. Should I wait? I do about 6 hours a week, so not sure if it's worth it. Keep filling those slots, gentlemen." If you can afford it, I wouldn't say it's too late. I mean, you got a couple heavy hitters coming to PlayStation.
I mean, does he already have a PlayStation?
I mean, yeah, if you have a PS4 and you're not dissatisfied with it, I mean, then stick with it. Yeah. But if you have a couple $100 extra to spare and you feel like sprucing up your games a wee bit, going into the tail end of the generation
TV
here
and stuff too.
Yeah, I always forget about it. You need a 4K TV as well to really harness that power. But I hear people love the One X. And the times I have played it, it does look gorgeous. But you have to consider not only do you have to buy the console, but the TV.
But it's an Xbox too. So there's that.
Granted, I mean, it keeps your feet very comfortable.
It does.
And,
it does.
I mean, that's really its main purpose, if we're being honest. But it's been an impressive footstool.
Does anything sound as better than just throwing your feet up and playing Crackdown 3?
No, I mean, I've taken pleasure in that many times now, and I think I've had my fill, if I'm being honest. But yeah, if you have the money, why not? But I wouldn't say it's totally necessary. If I were you, and if you have a 4K TV and you have the money to purchase one of these consoles, yeah, go for it. But if you don't, I would say I would personally hold off. If I were you,
I would hold off. Yeah, because if you're the type of person that was really into that, you would have done it already, you know? So, and if you already have a PS4 or Xbox and unless you're like literally dissatisfied, like I wish this looked a little better, then I wouldn't bother with it.
I guess fortunately you're not like Preston and I, where like the slightest bit of hardware is announced, we have to have it immediately. For better or worse, we have to have it. So yeah, I'd say I'd probably agree with you in the long run. Just hold off at this point. So unless Death Stranding kills your console, because everyone's raving about this game that I still have not seen anything that impresses me. But
you will.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it blows my mind.
Yeah,
I hope it shocks me so much that I have a heart attack. That's a terrible thing to wish for, but maybe a figurative heart attack. Emotionally, I have a heart attack. Fribes is the big finale today. Fribes says, best concert you've ever attended. Rowdiest, craziest, funniest? Funnest? Go all in here. I've seen Flogging Molly twice, and both times I've nearly passed out. So I guess that's my personal answer to all the above. It's funny because obviously I see a live show like 6 days a week, but the best concerts I've ever been to, I'll give you a couple. I'd say the one that sticks out to me most is seeing A Day to Remember in Atlanta at the Masquerade in their outdoor stage when it poured rain. I'm talking like a monsoon. It poured rain and there were like 500 people in the crowd, and me, Zach Bynum, and Zach McDearmont were there just getting soaked, but jamming out to A Day to Remember. It was really, really awesome. Secondly, I've seen Devil Wears Prada with you like 6 times now. I can't remember which one sticks out to me the most. I think the coolest thing, it wasn't the best Prada show I've seen, but I think the coolest Prada moment I've seen live is when we were at Warped.
That one time? Or was it Mayhem or Warped?
It was at Warped when I think they're playing Reptar, King of the Ozone, and the breakdown hits, and then Mike is just standing there with his hands behind his back, overlooking the crowd just killing themselves, and it was like the most badass thing. It was cool because the whole band's like headbanging like crazy, the whole crowd's just destroying each other, and then Mike's just stoic standing there looking at everyone. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And
I thought you were talking about that one time when we saw him at Mayhem, and it was during Mammoth, and he looked like he
was going to kill somebody. Yeah. It's funny. We've seen him perform that song many times now, and I feel like each time's been slightly different. But I'd say after that, I saw Metallica with you. I've seen Metallica twice now, but the first Metallica show we went to,
hilarious. The guy next to us like threw up in the seat.
Yeah. This guy was so drunk that he threw up on himself and slipped in his own puke down a staircase multiple times during the show. But that one sticks out to me, one, because it's Metallica, and two, it's still to this day the loudest show I've ever seen in my life. I feel like my ears are still ringing from that show. It was our sophomore year of high school.
I think the best one for me, and it's probably just due to memories, it was the first
Asking Alexandria.
Yeah, it's got to be that.
Yeah, we saw Asking Alexandria in their prime, like right after they had become popular in 2008. And we saw them at Masquerade, and it was so jam-packed in there and so ravenous that Preston and this sounds hilarious, we literally linked arms because it was so violent in there that we didn't want to lose each other.
That was the first mosh pit we'd ever been in either, so it was just like...
And oddly enough, that is still to this day one of the most brutal ones I've ever experienced. For sure. Like, it was insane.
Besides the one I think I killed somebody and ran away.
I remember seeing Escape the Fate. Were you at the Escape the Fate show with me? I think that was Bynum and Rivera.
No, I was there.
Were you?
Yeah.
I remember that because I remember there was a wall of death, and I saw a guy go down, and he was getting trampled, and I grabbed onto his arm and was like, get up! And he got suctioned into the monsoon of people, and I lost him, and I thought he died. But that was a cool show. I'm
scared. The second time we saw Asking Alexandria at Warped Tour, I'm scared I broke somebody's nose because some kid kept pushing me.
Yeah.
And it irritated me so much that I stuck my foot out and grabbed the back of his neck and just threw him somewhere.
Yeah.
And I left because I thought I killed him.
Yeah.
So who knows what happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Of course, I've loved seeing the Ghost Inside the few times I've seen him. I met Vigil twice now, once at an actual show and then later at that Call of Duty event, which still blows my mind that happened. But I think that's what sticks out to me as far as concerts are concerned. But
yeah, dude,
I've been to a lot of fun ones.
Seeing, I was going to say Parkway Drive, Veil of Maya at Hell in the Masquerade, just up on that balcony.
That was
overlooking.
Excellent.
That was so good.
That was good.
That was a really cool show.
Yeah, I like that more than Heaven. Now, Heaven has since been renovated completely, so I'd like to see them in there again because I think it sounds way better than it did. But yeah, that Hell show was awesome.
Yeah.
So
just really chill. Like we just could
just jam out. No one bothered us. It was air conditioned up there.
It was nice.
It was great. I need that again.
Yeah.
But Fribes, thank you for your question. Thank you to all of you for writing in this week. It was a fun one. And we're kind of cramming here at the last minute because I got to get to work, which really just makes me want to throw up and cry. But that'll be it this week for 191.
Yeah, thanks. That was the It's Obvious podcast. Please subscribe to the channel at youtube.com/ItsObviousGaming. Subscribe to our podcast on the Apple Podcasting app. Please check the description down below for links to everything you would ever need to know about us or get in contact with us or all that crap that's always in a description of any video ever. But I think that'll do it. We really appreciate everybody that continues to listen to us, and we will see y'all next week.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.